Let's get rid of that now. Don't know what was going on there, but we are live. Oh no, I got messages that I didn't check because I am so they're having issues. That is fine. There's always things that could go wrong, right? And that's just one of them that, phone's acting up. Why? Because go away. Why do I click on things? Her phone's acting up. That's to be expected, right? and I and I don't have anything to drink because I am dumb. Anyways, that was chaos. Like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So my projection that I have here glitched out, and y'all saw my dirty ass room for like half a second because I'm in a room and I've gone through a little bit of a depression spell because my daughter, she went off and joined the military. Congratulations to her, right? She's doing something that I couldn't do because at the time I, child support, custody, all that stuff was going on. And to join the branch I wanted to, they told me straight up to you're going to have to, sign over your rights. And I was like, not going to happen. So 18 years later, boom, my daughter joins, which is fine. It kind of brought me down a little bit. So my desk was a disaster. It still is a disaster. My room, even more so. That's why I got the green screen up, as you can see right here. So got that settled. So yeah, that's life. Normal human life, right? Chat? Oh, Streamlabs. Okay, well, I have my phone up here. Tragedy struck. My ring light decided to die, which is just an inconvenience because now I got to buy a new ring light. And I have a Razer ring light. I've had it for a few years, though. But I think the last big storm that went through, my surge protector didn't protect that surge. So it just fried it. Which all my other stuff is protected, except my ring light just gave up. So I have a busted ring light. But I have a really good tripod from it, though, so that's great. But now if I buy a new ring light, it's going to come with a new tripod. Checks and balances, I guess. Beyond the point, because this is what I was really doing before disaster struck. Will it pull up without frying my system? Nope, because it's going to take forever. Shut it down. It's Native American folklore. It is the Deer Lady. Now, I have covered something similar. I'm not too well versed on Native American mythology. I know just enough, like the average person, like Wendigos and Thunderbirds and, the basics. Bigfoot, Thunderbirds, Wendigos, Skinwalkers, different nuances. But the Deer Lady is one that I haven't heard about. But I have covered something similar. Now, the similar one that I've covered is over Aztec mythology. Who still gets messages from the Red app? Red Note, I still get updates. I'm still on Red Note. I don't post there as much as I want to because I don't post a lot in general. I'm supposed to post like every other day. I just screenshotted nothing. I'm supposed to post like every other day, but I don't because I don't know. There's just something that I can't do that stops me from posting. And I haven't, I even got stuff for this interview that I was supposed to post a lot of, but I forgot. No, I can't say I forgot. That's the wrong word. I've been busy and I haven't posted as much as I wanted to. I'm blocking my own airflow on my knot. Oh, what is going on? Today is just not my day, is it? Oh, that's why. Bam. Better. I was like, why is it just suddenly so hot over here? Okay, sorry guys. I'm just all over the place today. Now, since we have a firmware update for my mouse because I have a Death Adder 3. Really good mouse. I got the sensitivity at the perfect reach where I can just go like this with my wrist and I go from screen to screen. So it just set up just right because I don't have too much space on my desk. Because of the way I have it set up, if I set it up different, I'd have way more space. Which once I get my office back, that's going to be the case. I'm going to have it set. Oh, I'm so excited. I have so many plans for when getting my office back set up. Speakers is that's that. Microphones that. Cool. So we're just waiting if she's able to. If not, I don't know. Oh, hello.
Sorry. This popped in.
It's all good. I was actually just checking to see if you messaged me or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I was like, let me just do it on my phone. It's taking too long to try to do it the other way.
Oh, I've had my own chaos happen here in the last 5 minutes myself. So my daughter recently went off to the military, so I've gone through a little bit of.
Oh my gosh!
I've gone through a little bit of a depression. So my room went from perfectly clean to it looks like a hoarder lives here.
Oh yeah.
So exactly. I got this projection screen up, but I didn't have my green screen up, and then while I was getting everything ready, the background failed, and I just looked up at the camera, and the whole mess behind me was on there, and I was like,
Oh,
"Let me
no.
just turn this off real quick."
Exactly. Like, no, never mind.
And then like my and
I'm
then my
joking.
ring light decided to die. I was like, everything today is just chaos.
Yes. I get it. I get it.
So I finally got everything organized. In case this projection fails, I do have my green screen up behind me. So, and then I have friends and family coming over to clear out my office. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna have my office back to myself. That's a whole different story because I let one of my friends move in so they can because they were going through some time. So now they finally moved out. So I'm like, okay, I need you to get all your shit out of my office now.
Right,
So
right.
that's happening
It's
today.
time to
Yeah.
move out.
So
That's
I have so
awesome.
much going on today alone.
I know exactly how you feel.
So, have you seen any of the other episodes that I've done with any of the other creators?
Yes, yes. I watched some with Yaya, and I watched some of I think the one previous to that. I think that it was the one about the Wendigo. I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I've gone over so much
Yeah, yeah.
mythology, and I cover a wide variety of stuff. I've talked with a Salvadoran creator from Texas. Actually, I found out that this guy like is based the next town over from me,
Oh,
from where I live,
wow.
and I'm like, oh, if I would have known, I would have like we could have actually set up like an actual thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like an actual one.
But
Where
we
in
went over
Texas are you
Salvadoran
located?
mythology with him, and then one of my other buddies. We talked about how monkeys ended up in South Texas, which
Wow.
I never knew about. But apparently, there was someone who went over to Japan and saw the monkeys in the hot springs, and
Mm-hmm.
decided they wanted to bring them over here. So they did, and then they just took over a town. So now there's
Took over. They're an invasive
so yeah,
species.
there's an
Yeah.
entire town in South Texas that just has wild monkeys running around.
Whoa.
And there's people that
I did not
yeah,
know
there's
that.
people that are trying to protect them, and then there's other people that are like, yeah, they're not supposed to even be in Texas.
No,
So
they're not supposed to be here.
there's people that
I'm not a huge monkey fan. Yeah, I would be probably not on the team of protect the
you
monkeys.
wouldn't want the hot tub monkeys.
No,
I
thank
don't know
you.
how I would react if I went out at night to go for a swim, and then there's just a
That's
bunch
what
of
I'm
monkeys there. I'd be like,
saying. No, no, we don't need that. They don't need to be joining hot tub swim time.
So like there's a conservation specialist out there that's trying to like just bring them into like a solitary area, but people
Mhm.
and some of the monkeys themselves have figured out how to open their own cages and take off through the town again.
You
So
see?
they're just it has become a problem and not a problem depending on who you ask down there.
Yeah, that I mean anything that could open its own cage, one could say that that's got more than a small potential to be a problem.
Yes. There's so many horror movies based on that theory
That's what I'm
alone.
saying. Like, no, I have this argument with people all the time because I work in a comic book shop. So like we have these little lore fights. Like, what is the more imminent danger? Would it be like a man-made virus? Is it something that's um like a genetically altered man versus a genetically altered monkey? And I'm always on the side of, did you not see Planet of the Apes? Have you not read any of these books?
Yes.
Genetically altered monkeys, number one, we know they're doing it.
Yes.
They test on primates all the time. The genetic difference between humans and monkeys is so infinitesimal, so small that once they find a way to even just, I think it's 2% in chimpanzees, if they found a way to even bridge that by like just a half percentage more.
Yeah, they're too
They're
smart.
stronger
Yeah.
than us. Yeah, they're stronger than us. They're already at human level. Like they say 5-year-olds, but I don't think it's 5-year-olds. I would say it's at least like 10 or 12-year-olds. They don't probably have the like frontal cortex development to like really understand the consequences of their actions, but they have enough to get where they're trying to go.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm always on the side of I think a genetically altered monkey or ape would be way more dangerous than a genetically altered human.
See, I would have to be on the opposite end for virus
For
because
viral, okay.
because
I could see if you're saying that. I'm saying just this one alone, like just alone, that one being.
because as of I want to say the past 10 years, there was a scientist that wanted to see if they can make the perfect virus. And they
Mhm.
did. And it is like 100% lethality. They altered
Um,
like a common flu virus. So they altered it and made it so aggressive and so lethal that they had to destroy their own research because
Frankenstein.
they made
Yeah.
the perfect virus. So
Why? Why would we do that?
because no one
Why are we doing these
they wanted
things?
to see if they
Because they
could.
can.
Yeah, that was the basis of it.
Mhm.
It was like, can I do this? And yeah, they did it. So
Jeez.
I've been on that whole kick my entire life of like,
Yeah,
what would
yeah.
be the first thing to take us out? Would it be, like you said, genetically altered animals or a viral infection?
Well, yeah. No, yeah. And we're already seeing them play with those things, I feel like.
Yes, it's very close to actually happening. And in nature alone, the whole theory behind what's I just forgot the name of that show. That show with Pedro Pascal,
Uh, not, why do I want to say The Walking Dead? It's
not The
not The
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead. It's
Yeah,
um
it just left your mind, didn't it?
the mushrooms.
Yes.
Jeez.
I can't remember, but that's more likely to happen.
Sorry,
It's
little one.
all good.
Oh,
What is the name of that show?
okay.
That's gonna bother me now.
Sorry.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. I just told my entire family like y'all could just leave for now. I'll pay for breakfast. Just go
Yeah,
away.
literally. Yeah. I was honestly, it's a Friday. I was not, and it's summer. I was not expecting them to even be awake. And then she's like, "Hi." Like, "Oh, right there."
That's gonna bother. I'm gonna
Silly.
look up that game because that's gonna bother me.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, it just left my mind entirely. The Last of Us,
oh, okay. Duh.
and it was a great game. I played it. I played both of them through and through, and I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, that's in theory that is very more probable than most other things at this moment. So yeah,
Okay, there.
yeah. In theory, cordyceps are more probable as of right
Oh yeah.
now than most other things. Because as of right now, what are they? They only affect insects. They have not made that
Hmm.
genetic leap to warm-blooded creatures.
Right, the mammal.
So, but if it ever does, then yeah, the
Yeah,
Last
then
of
we're
Us is
screwed.
real.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you wouldn't.
And I have zero survival instincts, so I will not be surviving that.
I
That
have an
phenomenon.
entire plan already set up, and me and my friend were talking about it, and they both don't include our significant others. We're both like, yeah, our significant others will just drag us down. We're going separate ways.
Mm-mm. I don't want to. Just leave me with as soon as my snacks run out, as soon as the Wi-Fi's out, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm done with this.
No,
I'm
I
over it.
would survive.
Let's not.
I actually proved that point to my family the other day because there was a huge thunderstorm that came through Arlington and knocked out the power in my neighborhood for like 5 hours.
Hmm.
And then my family, my daughter, my son were like 2 hours in. They're like, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "What do you mean it's night? I'm about to go to bed. What are you talking about? Like the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi's
it's
out.
sleep time.
There's no TV." I'm like, "And go to sleep. Go outside. Do something." About 3 hours in, I was like, "Okay, fine. Y'all are annoying me. Let's go to Whataburger. Let's go get some food."
Yeah,
And hopefully by the time we get home, the power's back up.
exactly. Whataburger fixes everything. It'll be
And
fine.
actually, yeah, by the time we got
See,
home,
that's what I'm saying.
power came back on.
It was done.
Yeah. So,
Good.
yeah, I was like, y'all could never survive a power outage longer than an hour.
Nor would they want to. That is the key kicker right there. It's not even could I. Do I want to? Probably not.
I know I
Nobody
can.
wants to do that.
I grew up in like difficult times, so I know I can.
Oh yeah.
There was a time in my old neighborhood when I lived with my grandparents that the city was like, okay, we're going to do major construction. We're going to cut off, certain utilities for a little bit just to do the construction. And everyone was okay. Me and my grandparents were fine. So, but I set up like a makeshift outside shower area and everything. And I was like, cool. My daughter looked at me like, you're insane. I'm like, why? You need to survive. I mean, this is how you do it.
Yeah, you need to survive, exactly.
So,
And people need people like that with those kind of
yeah.
minds.
So when my daughter going to the military, she's going to realize that everything I've done, she's like, oh, my dad's not crazy. He just knows how to survive.
Oh yeah, exactly. She's gonna get those skills.
I have 3 dogs and they go crazy if anyone passes in front of my house.
Oh yeah. Like, hey.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So before I get, if you've noticed that, like if you've ever seen any of the other episodes where I talk to guests, this happens all the time. The conversation will go everywhere, but
Oh yeah.
what it's intended to. So I'm gonna try to rein it back in just a little bit. So you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
the Deer Lady.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of research. I'm not too well versed on the Deer Lady,
Okay.
but I've seen some similarities drawn between another lore from Aztec mythology that follows somewhat similar guidelines to the Deer Lady.
Right.
And I was trying to find it, but I can't find that episode that I talked about it. But the main thing behind it is that it appears to be a woman that gets saved by nature and then becomes
Yes.
a vengeful spirit to very specific guidelines, not just an angry spirit, but vengeful towards certain demographics. In the
Right.
Deer Lady's case, it's anyone that harms the innocent.
Right. It's women and children.
Yes, and there's also a couple other in the Mexican folklore, like there's different versions of like El Silbón, the whistling man, who's
Mm-hmm.
very similar to. He takes away unfaithful women, and then there's another one. I can't remember what her name is, but she lures men out into the woods, and that's the last time you ever see them. That
Mm-hmm.
seems to be a very common myth.
Well, yeah. It's based in how our parents used to tell us, go to sleep or Uncle Cooley's gonna get
Yes,
you. They're gonna, like he takes kids that aren't sleeping. So, it's fear-based to drive a good result.
yes. What was the common one that you heard growing up?
Well, we were always taught to not whistle at night because I'm mixed. So I'm Apache, Mexican, and my grandfather was from Greece. But
That's a
we were
wide
raised.
variety there.
Yes, yes. So, and then I'm sure there's other things, we like to, my sister and I love to be like, we're mutts. It's a little bit of everything. But probably the Mexican, because we live in Houston, we live in Texas. So that was the more prevalent. But as we got older, and when you get older, you pay more attention, you listen to your grandparents more. The Native American, we saw how influenced the Native American mythology, their culture is also steeped here. We're Mescalero Apache, and we would go to powwow. We still go to powwow every year. Um, and even, like you're saying, a lot of these myths, if you go further down into Mexico, because this is indigenous to this land. So,
Yes.
as people's traveled, as people brought it to different areas, it was all kind of it bleeds into each other because, it's all our culture. It's all part of this land.
Yeah, my main one that I heard growing up was La Mano Peluda.
Hmm.
That's one that to this day it terrifies me and my friend. Me and my friend were, he's 37, I'm 36. And even to this day, as grown ass adults, we're like, no, a
Oh yeah,
disembodied hand coming after you. No, that's it.
yeah. Mm-mm, that's
So,
yeah.
but yeah,
Not the Addams
that
family.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's the legend. That's the main one I always heard. And then from where my family's from in Mexico, it was witches because that's the
Hmm.
predominant one there. In Allende, where my family's from, there's a story of floating lights like orbs at night, and those are witches coming to
Hmm.
take children. So it
Right.
keeps kids inside at night. Me, it
Exactly.
didn't work with me. I never was home. So I just watched. I
Yeah.
just watched out for the lights. I'm like, if I see lights, I'm
You're
going
like,
home.
okay, if I see a light, I'll just go
Yeah,
home.
I'm like, easy as that. I could still do what I want. If I see a light, that's my sign to go home.
You see, normally it's the other ones when the lights go, don't they say when the street lights come on, the lights go out, then you're supposed to go home? You're watching for the lights to go home.
See, well, my grandmother, I mainly grew up with my grandmother. She made the mistake of saying one time to me, "Just come home before the sun comes up," and I took that literal. So I would stay out to like
Literally.
four,
Yeah.
5:30 in the morning. Sun starts to rise. I'm like, huh, time for me to go home.
Uh, uh,
I'm like,
Exactly. You got to be home before they wake up.
yep. So I grew up like that my entire life, and it's just how I've always been. I've kind of let my daughter do that a little bit, but now she's independent. She's off now on her own thing.
Yeah.
That kind of came back to bite me in the ass though, because she got way too independent, and I was like, I can't control you. Do whatever you want. Just
Yeah,
don't die or get pregnant. It's my only two
exactly. It
guidelines in
looks
life.
it looks different when it's our
Yeah,
kids.
so I was like, maybe my way of living was probably not the best, but I did everything I could. So now she's off in the military. I'm like, yeah, she's the
Exactly.
government's problem now. So what do you know about the Deer Lady? Because like I said, I'm not too well versed on it.
So the legend goes that a woman was attacked by five men and basically left to die in the forest. And the Great Spirit saw what happened and sent a fawn to comfort her in the last hours of her life. And because of the injustice of what happened, the woman was reborn to the deer woman. So she's a shapeshifter spirit, and she can come in the form of a deer, she can come in the form of like a ghostly like a phantom, or a very beautiful young woman. And that's the form she prefers, that's the form she hunts in the most. And she will come with for very specific reasons. She will go to dances, she will go to powwows, because she brings like favor and fertility and protection to the young women and children at the gatherings. And she will also seek out her prey, which is ill-intentioned men. And they say that she is the most beautiful woman you'll ever see. She has very like she has very beautiful eyes, so it keeps you looking at her face, and she loves to dance, so that's how she keeps you like entranced, and she'll lead you away by that, and she'll either stomp them to death, or there's another one saying that she can like make you fall in love with her to the point to where they won't eat, they don't take care of themselves, like basically they die of unrequited love. And so that's not her favorite way to kill them, but it does apparently happen. And she's the only way, there are a couple of ways that she can, like her threat can be neutralized basically, is if tobacco, chanting, or if you notice her feet, which are hooves, then the spell is broken and she'll run away.
That is very interesting because that's growing up. That's one thing that you've always heard is that, like, if like when people start getting to the age where they start dating and then they don't eat that often, then they're like, oh, it's because they're in
Yeah,
love.
you're wasting
Yeah,
away.
I've
Yeah.
never realized that there's also that's part of some mythology too.
Hmm.
And it's funny enough that you say something about eyes. To me, I would be in trouble because I get very easily entranced with eyes.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people that I talk to, I make I'm a very weird person. I'll make very intense eye contact with the person because for some reason I'm drawn a lot to eyes. If I were
Right.
to go through like my Instagram, it doesn't matter like what I go through on my Instagram or threads. It's the different people that I've the accounts that I've followed and liked. It doesn't matter what they are. They're either like workouts, goth, food, a wide
Right.
variety. The majority of them have one thing in common. They have different colored eyes. They're either
Hmm.
very intense, either light, honey colored, blue, whatever, but they're not like the standard everyday color. And I'm like, I
Right.
have a thing with eyes. I don't know why. The dear lady would just take me away. If it was eyes,
Yeah,
I
you would get
I
got.
wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, weird feet, but your eyes. Let's go.
Exactly.
it would
They,
it would that wouldn't
that's the danger.
the hooves wouldn't bother me. I'm like, okay, I'll just look at your eyes. That's it. Take me away.
Exactly. Like it's all
I'd be
right.
gone.
We can work past this. I love you enough. We can move. It's
I'd be the
fine.
perfect target. Just let me see your eyes. Okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna die, but good eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah, those stories are always very interesting, especially because with how old they are. My train of thought is for a story to last that long, there has to be some kind of truth behind it.
Hmm.
So in my mind, at some point, whether it's mythology or not, there has to have had an incident where that happened.
Right.
With how
Something this grew out of.
Yes, with how strong those stories are, especially when you get into more recent ones like La Llorona, then you start if you dig
Hmm.
far enough back. Some people have said they actually found recently they found the gravesite of La Llorona, and then
Hmm.
if you dig far enough back behind that, there's a story. The very first story comes back to where when uh, Spain first invaded Mexico, and the indigenous at that time, one of them turned their back on the indigenous and believed the Spaniards were gods and started talking to them. So that's
Right.
where the original story La Llorona go comes from. And I'm like, okay, see, well, now at that point, now there's an actual correlation to it actually happened.
Right.
So with something like the Deer Lady, there, whether it's written or it's just vocal, something had to have happened where a tragedy
Hmm.
did occur, and then an actual fawn was there, because nature knows everything, and in someone's
Hmm.
dying moments something like that is possible, because like I said, nature knows everything. It's when you're dying,
Right. It's
a lot of
connected to it.
amazing things
You.
have been
Hmm.
known to happen. Like when people get lost in the middle of the ocean, they're like, a
Hmm.
dolphin came and saved me. That
Yeah.
wouldn't happen, not in real life, but in normal everyday
Right.
circumstances.
It's exactly.
So there had to have been something like that happen, and then immediately afterwards some random hunter who was known to be a bad person got trampled to death by a deer.
Well, yeah, you hear about that happening
Yeah.
anyways.
So and then now all this correlation comes into this great story, and in it, and with the way Native American and indigenous folklore goes, reincarnation is a thing. So it's going to be like
Hmm.
that's what happened. And I for one believe that that's going to be the truth part of it. Is to this day, I'm guessing if you go out there and you're not just hunting for actual food, you're going to get attacked
Hmm.
by something. And it happens all the
Yeah,
time.
you've got that. Yeah, you're taking a necessary risk. You're out there with malintentions. You're not taking just what you need.
Yeah.
You're taking more than what you need. You're taking selfishly, and the land will and nature will reciprocate in kind.
Yes. I've my family goes hunting every now and then, and they're not just game hunters. They go and they'll process the
Right.
meat and they'll keep the skin. So we use it all. I've never
Exactly.
been
Yeah.
one who's like, oh, I'm gonna go hunt just for fun. Like, no, there's no point in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I those kinds of stories kind of always bother me. I don't think I could go hunting and then listen to a story like that. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess it's time to go home.
Right. Like, and now we're done.
Yeah, no.
Vibe is killed.
But yeah, that's a very like intense story. There's so many similarities though between other stories like that. The only one that I can think of that's has nothing to do with it but has similar intentions is one from South Texas, and it's the Dancing Devil. And
Mhm.
I kind of went over that with Shining Nathan a little bit, and it's basically just a beautiful man goes to a nightclub and just dances the night away, and it's an act, and it's supposedly it was the devil. And once they
Mhm.
look down at his feet and they discover who it is, the nightclub like suddenly bursts into flames, and everyone
Oh yeah.
escapes, and that's always just been a legend in Texas. And I'm like, but I've never heard anything else about it. I'm like, so the devil just wanted to have a good night. So I'm
Right.
like, but for some reason, like dancing comes up a lot in some of these stories. And El Charro Negro, El Silbón,
Oh yeah,
they're
it's one
always
of the
musicians.
oldest forms of entertainment that can be used, and in our culture, dancing is can be sacred.
Yes.
It is, for the most part, it's sacred. It's a way to connect with your community. It's a way to come together as one. When you come to the powwows, when you come together, even in Mexican culture, when you come together and you're dancing and you're either as a family or as a group or in celebration of something, we believe that there's power in community and there's power in moving as one. So when you have the more modern uses of dance, which is like nightclubs, going out to, you know, whereas our elders and our ancestors would have seen that as that's the bad form of it. That's you're out there to drink, you're out there to, do whatever. People take advantage. If a man has bad intentions, he's going to go to a nightclub, he's going to try to get a girl that way, he's going to do something like that. So it's also, again, another form of be careful, or when you're out there doing this, these bad things can happen. You could be at this nightclub and the devil will show up, and it's all gonna have to run for your life. So it comes out of the history of why we've used this, and dancing is such a important part of culture.
Yeah, it is a very important part of culture. Um, especially with the warning stories, like you said.
Hmm.
Um, the area I grew up in and the clubs that I went to, one of them was super dangerous and sketchy. The cops were always there. It was it was a long time ago. It was called Club DMX at the time. And it was a hidden little club that got so much attention, and it was in an industrial neighborhood, and to get there you
Mm,
had to go like down a mile stretch of nothing on either side, and then you got to the
yeah.
club. And then like usually after Saturdays, maybe like on Sundays and Mondays, all the stories would come out. They found a body on the
Oh
side
yeah.
in one of the ditches. Someone got hurt and was left in the ditch, and eventually over time enough of these stories came out that they shut that club down. They completely shut it down
Yeah.
because it was a very dangerous area. Even though everyone's there for a good time, there's always those people with bad intentions.
Right.
And to this day, every now and then I'll hear on the radio or on whatever I'm listening to, one of the old DJs who used to run it all the time. He'll come up, he'll be like, "Oh, throwback to the '90s. We're opening DMX one last time." I'm like, "Why? Did you
Wow.
not learn your
Why
lesson?
would we do
There's a
this?
reason it's not there no
Exactly.
more." So there's still
Mm-hmm.
every couple of years it opens up for one night, and I've never been back.
That's
I've never
crazy.
been back ever since. I'm like,
No, you haven't given it another
yeah, I'm
chance.
like, I don't want to go because it's a one way road. It's a one way in and one way out road,
Mm.
and drunk people along a very narrow road is not a good
Yep.
idea.
Not a good combination.
Yeah. So
No.
and and I do believe in that the nature and spirits tend to stay in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who have
They have territories,
so
right?
the people who have been hurt and have passed away in those little ditches on the side of the road,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that one day someone's going to drive by it and there's going to be a party goer there and be like, "Oh, I need a ride home," and that's the last you're ever going to see of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, not going to be me. And
Exactly.
I have a bad habit of picking up people. My
Right.
family says that one day that's going to be my downfall because like the amount of people that I've randomly helped out borderline just dangerous. So one time
But you can argue that since your intentions are to help, your intentions are pure, that you're on the right side of that, at least.
that's what I try to argue, but my family still worries because
Well, of course,
the
they're going to worry for your
the
safety.
worst one that I've ever done, and it was all good intentions. I had to go drop something off at a police station down the street from my house. So I went, dropped it off, and some random guy comes out. He goes, "Can I get a ride home?" I'm like, "Who are you, dude? I don't even know who you are." He goes, "Oh, they picked me up. I'm some college kid from some random ass town, and I don't know my
Mm-hmm.
way around." I was like, "Okay, hop on in my truck. Let's go." And I took him to his hotel, and then I told my grandparents. They're like, "What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
he could have hurt you."
could
I'm
have
like,
heard it. It's hash slinging
I'm
slasher.
like,
Yep.
no, he just got out of jail. Why would he hurt me to go immediately back?
Right. He's going to go back. He just got out of the cage. Why did I go
That's
back?
always been my main train of thought. I was like, he just got out of jail. Why would he risk going back immediately by hurting me
You'd be
and taking
surprised.
my because I had an old beat up truck. Like, why would he hurt me and take my old beat up
Yeah.
truck? He
Why?
gets
Yeah.
nothing
He's not
from
going to
it.
get me.
And
Exactly. There's no benefit.
yeah, and I was like, and at the time I drove a single cab purple truck. I'm like, if he takes it, they're gonna find it
They're going to find
immediately.
him.
It's a purple
Exactly.
truck that's loud. He's not gonna be discreet.
But you see, the true crazies are the ones that do it for the thrill of doing it, not for what they're going to get out of it.
True. So they probably would have gone for the truck.
Exactly. Because they're going to be like, oh, well,
A very loud purple truck that stands out. Like I
yeah.
got
Or
it.
they just leave the truck there, or they just leave you and the truck there and they walk off and find another victim.
True. See, that never went through my mind. So I've helped random people before like that before. There was one time
Yeah.
when I was driving to a job interview and then I saw a guy running after the bus. I'm like, get in. I don't need to go to my interview. You need to go to work. And I took him to work. I've always done that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, I have good intentions, so nothing's going to happen.
Right. Nothing's going to happen. Exactly.
So, but I don't know. Those stories affected me in a way like that. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do something crazy, there's going to be something good behind it that comes out of it. If I'm going to help
Yeah.
a random person, it's going to be because they needed help. And I've lived my life like that and nothing's bad has happened so
You've
far.
made it thus far.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, those stories of at night with vengeful spirits, I've been fortunate enough to never come across anything like
Right.
that, but I kind of also want to tempt fate and see if I can see one just because
Right.
I've grown up listening to these stories my entire life. I've done my own
Mm-hmm.
research. I've also heard these stories and I'm like, I want to see one.
Right.
And I know a bunch of people online and I've talked to some people and I've met up with people that I know and they're like, let's go. I'm like, if you're ever in Texas, let's do this. And there's one that's down the street from me called the Screaming Bridge of Arlington.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the story goes that at night, after a football game. These kids were celebrating. They were driving home, and they crossed this bridge, and it was a single road bridge, and in the opposite direction was a truck that came and crashed into them and killed them.
Hmm.
So now their spirit stays there.
Hmm.
I did my research on it. It's two different stories that come together to create that one story, but it's all the crazy part is both stories involve people actually dying at two different bridge
Wow.
locations. So theoretically in Arlington there's two different screaming bridges, and there's only one that still exists, and I've wanted to go there but I can't go there by myself, and I also don't want to
Right.
go there with other people because, and I hate to say it like this, but it's turned into like one of the biggest cruising areas in Arlington.
Oof.
So I kind of can't go with my homeboy because then they'll be like, "Oh, we know what you're doing." They're like, "No, we're going ghost hunting. We're
Like,
going ghost
we're
hunting."
ghost hunting. Thank you very
And I was
much.
gonna go there at night one day by myself. So I pull into the park, and that's when I noticed it. I was like, "Oh, this is
Hmm.
that community area. I don't think I need to be here by myself at night."
Exactly. Exactly.
I've seen American Horror Story. I'm going home.
Yeah. Never mind.
So
Won't be doing that
I
today.
think I would need to go with a group of people.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Definitely a fun group outing.
have you ever had anything personal happen to you like that? Like any ghost stories?
Yes. So, um, when growing up, we we believe in again, like you're saying, intentions and like what's good about people and things like that, of course. And if you put good out, good comes back. And my mother was always really big on um not watching certain things, like anything to do with the occult, or not listening to certain music, or not listening, again, our elders, they kind of will be like, don't open doors,
Yes.
is the way that it
It comes in.
comes
You're
to you.
welcoming it
Hmm.
into your home.
Exactly, you're welcoming these spirits. And like even to the like even my doormat does not say welcome. It doesn't say come in, it doesn't say anything. It's a Godzilla like doormat, but it is not we don't believe in having that because any kind of spirits can take that as an invitation.
Yes. Mine is either the one in my front door is like eight little elves dancing for Christmas, and the one in my back door is four little skeletons dancing. Nothing that says welcome. It's just creatures
Exactly.
dancing.
It can be pictures, it can be whatever, but it's not saying to come in. So, um my brother and I were like, it was around summertime, and we're watching, you watch movies, you're up late, you're in the living room, and there was a couple of like scary movies or things like that, and we had kind of like, we tried to be brave because I don't watch scary movies like that, and I don't watch things to do with like demons or the occult or anything because it freaks me out, like you're saying, can't do it, especially at night. And he was kind of teasing, and all of a sudden a glass in the kitchen just exploded, and we were like, and then 2 nights later we are in our room, and again we heard like a whole thing, and and there's no reason, nobody was in the kitchen, we had washed the dishes and put them away just like normal. And so after that we told mom, and we were like, sorry, like something is weird, something's happening. This, I think it happened again one more time, a third time, and like my mom had to go through the house, and I think she used like she just sprayed through the house, she used oils and like anointed all of the entryways in the house. And after that, we didn't have that problem again. But there's also been like sometimes, like when we spoke about the true dangerous people, the true crazies, you can feel that spirit on them. Like it's a spirit of chaos, it's a spirit of malcontent, it's a very predatory spirit.
Yes.
And if you know like what to look for, and like you're saying, in the eyes, if you look at some people in the eyes, there's nothing behind it. It's either like a dead eye stare, or you can feel that like very predatory look. And I remember being, you're out and about, you're young, you're with your friends, and there was this guy that would not leave my friend alone, and he kept like coming, and he wasn't even getting offended. It was just like that dead eye stare. He kept, and I was like, no, like we need to stay completely away from this person. I think we ended up telling somebody about them, and they were like, oh, maybe he's high, maybe he's this, or maybe he's just had a few. But it was like, no, there's something that's driving this
This kind
guy
of
that he has
behavior.
picked. Exactly. It was a very predatory, just like non-relenting spirit that's like trying to attach itself to someone. It's trying to find that next victim. And that's why stories like this have taken on a new life, I believe, because we have movements like the MMIW, which is the missing or murdered Indigenous women movement. And Indigenous women, Mexican women, women of color, are 5 times more likely to be the victims of this. Number one, because we are native to the area, we are seen to be overlooked. And if something does happen to us, I think the statistic is something like 68%. We're 68% less likely to get looked for as hard as, say, if it was a white woman or somebody of standing in the community versus something happening to one of us. So it's kind of like we're the preferred victim. So when you have statistics like that and you have all of these things that are happening and these big movements that are going on in our communities, these lores are going to come back out because you're looking for that. These spirits, we talk about them like they're vengeful spirits. They're in all forms and purposes vigilantes.
Yes.
They're serving justice, and men have very little to be afraid of, especially men that hurt weaker people, that they choose victims like women and children. There's not much for you to be afraid of, um, if those are your victims. But if there's, like you're saying, these vengeful spirits, these um avengers for women and children, then yeah, you should be a little more careful of who you follow into the woods, because you think you're the scariest thing there. You think you're the one that's going to take, and sometimes you get taken.
It's that bravado that gets a lot of people, especially men. It's a false bravado that happens. Me,
Hmm.
I'm not that. I would never. I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
nope.
and they mention that because they talk about it. I don't know if you've watched Res
I
Dogs
was
on
about to mention
FX.
that too. I haven't got.
Hmm.
I was watching it, but I haven't got to that episode yet because I don't
Hmm.
know what happened. Like I have a bad habit of watching shows and then just randomly I'll just stop. And then when you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the Dear Lady, I was like, okay, cool. Let me do my research, and I saw that it was on there, and I saw the actress. I think I follow her on Instagram too. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, I
Yeah,
remember.
she's a really good
I
actress.
remember her from another show that I watched with her in it. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm like, I still haven't watched it. I'm gonna watch it today though.
Yeah, it's so good, but there's just, and it's not a spoiler, but there's just one line where she's talking to the child, and he knows who she is, and she basically is just like, but like, who do I come after? And he's like, oh, well, guys or boys, and she's like, no, I come after bad men.
Yes,
And that's not who you are. So if that's not who you are, you don't have anything to be afraid of me. You have nothing to be afraid of. And I think it's such a powerful line, because we think about, like, even the Me Too movement, we think about the missing women movement, and how some men are like, oh, well, I'm afraid to go up and talk to a woman, or I'm afraid to make advances to somebody. They're going to think I'm doing something wrong, or they're going to think this, or men say all of these things now, but if you're not doing anything wrong and you don't have ill intentions for these women, then you don't have anything to worry about. And people are starting, I think, to wake up to not just looking at either a pretty or handsome face, but really, and it goes for both sides, men and women, I think really starting to understand the spirits and the intentions that people have is really what you need to read and watch out for.
yes,
And I think that it's awesome that we're starting to kind of look beyond that a little bit more. But it's also a form of, like you're saying, survival.
yes,
That reading somebody's intentions and not just taking either a pretty or a handsome face for face value can literally save your life if you just take that extra beat to really read that person on an intention level.
Yes, that's very true.
It can save your life.
It can, especially if not just, you don't need to know what you're looking for. You just need to be, as long as you not just have a a connection, but as long as you can feel that they're not having a bad intention. Which
Hmm.
is also why it amazes me that, like, out of nowhere, this whole it's not, it didn't come out of nowhere, but like it surged rapidly. This whole hate and intention towards different minorities, especially in the LGBTQ community. And
Yeah,
I'm like, why? If you go back far enough in history, that didn't exist. It was just whatever happened between you and another person on a different level. If you look at like
exactly.
Roman
Yeah, we
history,
have.
Greek
Mhm.
history, uh,
That
Asian
was always
history,
a
and
thing. It's not,
it
a
wasn't.
lot of times certain communities love to say, oh, this new thing or this is now it's fine. No, this was always
Yeah,
something that
it's
was
it's
known
been in
and
history.
and usually accepted. And in the communities that it wasn't accepted are the more tyrannical
Yes,
communities or rules at the time or kingdoms at the time. In the more like you mentioned Greek history, that is one of like, so how many things come out of the Greek Empire that when they were at their strongest, we got culture, we got art, we got music, we have so much of our own English language traces back to those roots. And so when you think about it, you know, like when you're not repressive and you're not being so worried about what people are doing behind their own closed doors, you get a lot. When you have a repressive community, then you're not allowing that genius to flow because everybody's restricted and afraid.
yeah, and it's every culture has had that, and that's why I was
Hmm.
like, why is it now? This is popping up. Why is it surging now? If you would let people be, so many great things happen.
Right. It's fear. It's fear based because if they can make you afraid of what you don't understand and they can make you prejudiced against it, then you're going to have to follow something blindly. You're following that fear blindly. That's going to make you more susceptible to follow something else blindly. And instead of investigating for yourself, doing your own personal research or getting out there and being around people that are different from you and seeing that they're just humans. There's nothing scary about this culture. There's nothing scary about this person. There's nothing scary about this identity. They're just humans living their lives just like you are. They have the same fears, the same hopes, the same dreams. It takes away that fear, it neutralizes it. But if they can keep you scared and they can keep you isolated and they can keep you prejudiced, then you stay in your little bubble and you're there's no reaching out, there's no community. And I think that that's one thing that especially our cultures of Mexican and Native American, the community was what made you strong.
Yes,
The people, the village, it takes a village that came from somewhere. And when they can break us up and keep you isolated, we're weaker. We're less than what we could be. And they know that. It's been proven time and time again.
yes, divide and conquer. That's
Mm-hmm.
why that's one of the most effective ways of warfare, was always divide and conquer.
Exactly.
And and even right now, during everything that's going on, it's a big struggle because people are actually joining together now, more
Right.
more so than ever. And I'm like, this is how it should have always been, not us
Right.
versus them, but it should have always been a community, because now it's not just the Hispanic culture, the indigenous culture, African Americans, white people. No, everyone's like
Hmm.
joining together, like, hey, what's happening isn't right. And people are
Exactly.
joining together. And
Exactly.
my favorite things that have happened so far, have a lot of it's come out of California. um they're running government agents out of towns, and it's not
Hmm.
just the people, it's also like the police force is standing with them. They're like, this isn't right.
Right.
And it's happened here in Dallas too, where Dallas police officers went out and
Hmm.
protested with the people. It's
Hmm.
showing unity, it's making us stronger. I hate to say it, but like, the one of the few good things that have come out of the current administration is communities have gotten a lot stronger. It may
Right.
not be in the ways they intended, but communities have
Right.
gotten stronger.
Exactly.
And I feel now that within the next 5 6 years, that there's going to be more stories coming out of these of the old stories. They're going to come back,
Right.
but in a new way. And with all the tragedies and everything that's happening, these stories are going to come back, and they're going to be revamped. Like with what's happening in Florida, I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years there's not just a deer lady, there's going to be like an alligator man, you know? There's going to
Oh
be
yeah,
a story similar to the deer lady, but it's going to be revamped for a modern day purpose.
right, right.
And
And we see even our own come repackaged. The things that never die is the legends, and that's why people don't understand written and spoken history survive for a reason.
yes,
And it's when we stop telling our stories, it's when we stop revisiting these things, that's when a culture dies. That's when community and connection dies. Your stories are important. It's what connects us because like you're telling, oh, this happened, this ghost story happened. I'm telling, oh, well, this really weird experience. It's a thread that
that
the more
connects
that you
everybody.
have binding, exactly, binding yourself to those in your community and those around you, it makes you stronger. It roots you, it grounds you.
And funny enough, you say that. I've said this multiple times. I've talked about this exact same thing with Shining Nathan. I told him that this is part of the reason why I do this. These stories need to survive, whether it be through this format or
Yeah, it's
TikTok,
a medium.
Instagram,
Mhm.
or on TV. It needs to survive. And I think I even mentioned this also to Yaya last time too. That this is part of the reason why I do this is that these stories need to survive. There has to be something that connects everything. And as you were talking and as we were talking about the whole communities joining together and Hispanic and all the other countries, there's even in movies nowadays it's coming back.
Mhm.
Last year there was a movie that came out called Monkey Man, and it's about the lower class rising up against the higher class, and one of the people that helps the main character is what is known in India and in Mexico as the third gender.
Mhm.
And there's a whole community of, I can't remember correctly in the movie, but in the movie, there's a whole community of, they don't consider themselves trans, they just consider themselves people. And they're there
Right.
as spiritual guides and they kind of help him and he becomes more powerful, of a better fighter. But that's the part of the main story was that these underprivileged people that are often overlooked, and just
Mhm.
because they're not the same as everyone else, they're overlooked. They
Right.
created their own community and sense of person and sense of self that they help the main character realize that everything is connected. It's a great movie. I love the movie Monkey Man. I've seen it many times. But also, there's a documentary that came out, I think, from Mexico called "The Third Gender" or I can't remember what they're called. There's a very specific term, but it talks about those that have been kind of ostracized
Right.
from the
Marginalized. Right.
community, and how there's a big resurgence in all of this coming back and getting
Right.
stronger. And
And Native Americans call them two spirits because it's two spirits living in one
yes,
body. So it is kind of like that
I've
triangle.
heard
Yeah.
I've heard of that. There's a very specific term. There's something that they call them in Mexico, and I just can't remember what it's called. But like, it's all these things that just need are coming back in media, and people aren't realizing
Mhm.
that it's not just a new thing in media. No, it's coming back.
No,
These stories are coming back for a
it's a resurgence.
reason.
Everything is cyclical.
Yes,
Exactly. It's coming back because this is what's needed. And nature and community elders, if you listen to, it's one thing that I've been talking a lot about. You have to know history is the best predictor of what is going to happen. And when things like this come back, and like you say, all of these stories resurge and they repackage into a more modern form, it's because that's what is needed at this point in history. That's the only thing that's going to save us. If we continue to be isolated and we continue to break ourselves apart into whether it's race or religion or um, sexuality, whatever it is, it's like you're saying, divide and conquer. The more that we find that baseline of commonality of humanity and understanding that these are just people, they are the same as you, they have the same basic needs as you, and to just accept them on that level, the better it's going to be for everybody. And there's not a reason to be afraid of that person anymore, or to not connect, or to not help that person anymore,
yes,
because they're human, just like you.
exactly. Because there should never be a reason to hate somebody just off the bat, unless, like I said, unless you just get that
Well, yeah,
feeling
that's where, yeah, exactly. Somebody's coming at you with
with
a bad
malintent. Yeah.
intention, exactly. That mal, then you can feel it, and then there's your reason. And I think that, like you were saying, people are doing it, like the police that are helping the protesters. Even the stories that we're starting to tell, it's a very clear indicator that it's not necessarily people, but ideas and ideals. And once you understand that, um even in even in scripture, there's like, and proverbs of other religions, there comes down to the fact that you're not fighting humans, you're fighting bad, you're fighting evil. You're fighting
Yes.
a principle. If you become a principled, disciplined person and you do something because it's right, or because, or you stand against something because it's wrong, it gives you a whole other power. It gives you a whole other way of seeing things. And you're not hating that person because of what they look like. You're not hating that person because of what they sound like, or who who they are. It's because of that intention. And you become more rooted, and you can pick up on people's intentions because that's what you're looking for. That's your guiding light. Good, I'm going to follow and I'm going to support it. And negative, I'm going to repel that and I'm going to fight against it. And it grounds you and puts you on a higher plane of understanding. And like you're saying, these podcasts, this is the new spoken word. These are the new stories, movies. It's just another medium. It's a way to tell our stories and our legends. And when you do start to see the tide turning, like you're saying with the movies that you've been watching, it's a sign of the community and what they want and what is needed.
Yes, very much so. And like you said, everything is cyclical and it comes back around. And I think it's kind of ironic that last year this movie of the Monkey Man that came out last year, that it's about, like I said, a underclass rising up against the higher class, and we are seeing
Hmm.
this happen today. And it's like you said, it
Yep.
all comes back around. Like a movie about that the year before everything actually happens comes out, and
Right.
it's those things that people need to realize that history doesn't just happen and disappear. It
No,
If we don't learn from these lessons, it's gonna happen again. And that's
it's
also
going to keep repeating itself.
and that's also what ghost stories are, what all these Native American folklore, Mexican folklore, or whatever
Hmm.
culture's folklore.
It's a
It's
warning.
not, yeah,
Hmm.
it's not just a story. It's a warning of what could happen again if we're not careful. And it happens all the time in every culture, in every religion, in every group of people. These stories happen over and over again, which is where we get from La Llorona, which happened during
Hmm.
the original story happened during the indigenous times. And then after colonization, La Llorona came about, and then further past that, then you start getting El Silbón, which is it's still
Hmm.
along the similar path of people
Right.
with bad intentions, bad things happen, and then something happens to those bad people, and as it progresses, it's the same story. And whether it be, like I said, whether it be that example of train of thought, or then you get from in Texas the hitchhiker story of the woman that drowned in White Rock Lake. Then you get that. Then
Yeah.
you get those lines of stories, and it's all just a warning of be careful who you're around and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And but people don't realize that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
No.
that's a scary story. Like, no,
Yeah,
it's not a
that's
scary
scary
story. It's
story.
it's a warning of what could
It's a
happen
warning.
again. And I love that this is coming back in media. So you got the Deer Lady in Reservation and Res Dogs, and then you got
Hmm.
the Women in White in Supernatural, and then you
Hmm.
got all these stories keep coming back, and people don't realize that, like, yeah, it's part of a great storyline, it's part of something different, but it's
Right. It
also
contributes.
it contributes to a cautionary tale. It's a warning, like, hey,
Hmm.
if you do bad, something bad's gonna happen. It's
Right.
it's common sense, but people don't realize that these stories that's what it, that's what these stories are meant to do. They're meant to
Right.
entertain, and they're meant to tell you, hey, be careful.
Hmm.
And I feel like if people don't take that last part, the be careful, they take the stories, everyone loves these stories, but they don't they don't take away what's important is the be careful
Or
part.
exactly. If you don't take away what the intended lesson is, like Invincible, it's a very popular story right now, very popular cartoon right now, very popular Amazon show. It was a comic book for years and years, and one of the best and most notable lines is they're they're hiding their identities, they're flying around, and they say, "Oh well, nobody ever looks up." And that's how they can get away with their alter identities, and their they're high school kids that are superheroes. They're saying like, yeah, we can do all of this, we can fly right over their heads 'cause nobody looks up. And we see that now with our our addictions to our phones. You don't pay attention. I remember even back before phones were a thing, my father getting on to me and being like, pay attention, pick your head up, look around. You need to notice when you're walking in a parking lot, you need to see who's in their cars and who's loitering, what cars are just sitting there. Is there somebody that's following you? You need to constantly be aware of those around you. And I feel like we don't practice or teach that enough. And being aware is also being aware of consequences. If you see something happen to somebody else, whether it's in a story or a movie or on the news, and you don't take a lesson from that and learn, like, oh, that could happen to me, or I've been in a situation like that and I wasn't paying attention. But now you can definitely learn something and apply that lesson to your life. It's just wisdom, being aware of what's around you, and the taking something from everything and applying it positively to your life.
The whole when you mentioned parking lot, it kind of triggered a memory. There's a story I did. It was one of the first ones I ever did actually on the podcast, and it was over a man that was a practitioner of like a certain kind of voodoo that he knew, that his family knew, and he didn't kidnap a woman. He kind of brainwashed her into believing that she was a goddess in his culture,
Okay.
and he got her in all this, and then they ended up like killing a bunch of people, and then by the time she realized what was going on, it was too late. She was entrapped in
Yeah.
this, and it was a whole crazy story, and it happened in South Texas, close to the border.
So many crazy things happen here.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've covered South Texas many times, and some of the stories that happens.
Mhm.
But yeah, like, and it wasn't that, and it was that she wasn't careful with who she brought into her life, and she was having
Mhm.
like a hard time. Like, it wasn't a hard time with their boyfriend, but she was like kind of in a weird stage with her boyfriend,
Right.
and this mystery man with like just started talking to her and kind of entranced her and brought her into this. And then next thing you know, she's in some random like rundown house
Wow.
with like blood on the, like chicken blood and stuff like all over the walls. And then there's a cauldron.
Yeah.
There's like a cauldron that he uses. And she doesn't back away. She kind of just goes into this because she got entranced into this and she believed everything
Right.
he said. And I'm like, yeah, if you're not paying attention and you're kind of just in
Yeah.
your own little world and it's something random.
Being picky with the influences you
Yeah,
let in
and
your
it just
life.
and it just
Yeah.
took over her life before she realized what was going on. And it is one of those things,
That's
like, if
crazy.
you're not careful with your surroundings, because apparently from the research I did, he'd been stalking her for who knows how long,
Mm.
and he
So
kind of,
yeah, he's doing his research, he's learning about how to influence her,
yes,
how to,
while
like, he
while she
studied
was
his prey,
distracted
just
with,
like hunters do.
yeah, while she was distracted with her boyfriend and not really paying attention to her surroundings, he was always there, kind of just watching until he found the
Wow.
right moment. And it's crazy because, like, it's true. Like,
And
if,
all of that was going on, and she wasn't paying
yeah,
attention to
and she
like
didn't know that was
realize.
happening until it
Yeah.
was too late. By the time she wanted out, it was already like, you can't get out of
Well,
this
now you've
situation.
done,
Yeah,
yeah, now you've done all
yeah.
of
Now,
this.
now, unfortunately, I think she killed a couple people too. And I was like, you
Yeah.
can't get out of that situation. You've let him
You've
influence you.
mhm.
And it's not just like, oh, a bad guy influenced you, know, because there's stories of also women doing the same
Yeah.
thing too. It's it's
Oh, yes.
it's you let an influence
Any
happen to
any
you.
any influence that
Yes,
you're letting in and letting it compromise you, or you're making allowances for something you know is wrong and you know you shouldn't be doing it, or it's something's not on the level here,
yes.
but you're continuing. to follow along after that influence. Like you said, that could be men or women.
Yes, and
And
not just that. That could be addictions too, like you mentioned.
yes.
Like
Hmm.
I have full control over who the main speaker is whenever you're talking. So I'll switch the cameras over when I pick up my vape. I'll be like, let me just unfocus that on me real quick, because I do have,
Yeah.
I used to smoke heavily, but now I vape every now and then, and
Right.
it picked back up once my daughter was moving to start telling me about the military. So I'm like, and when she started mentioning addictions, I'm like, let me just switch the camera off of me real quick so I can take a hit of my vape.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
that's one thing. Yeah, I've been really careful about because it's been so it's crazy to see how quickly things catch on as addictions.
yes,
And this vape phenomenon has been like wildfire. Like I feel like 5 years ago this wasn't even a thing
yeah.
as much as it is
It
now.
started. It started about 5 6 years ago, but people were like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm not going to do that," and all
Yeah,
this, and then out of nowhere, like, "Oh, you still smoke? Why don't you have a vape?" And I was like,
exactly. And now you,
and for a
yeah.
long time, I was like, I used to smoke and vape. So for a long time, I was like, it's whatever. And then out of nowhere, I bought a random vape, and I was like, I'm a little stressed out. I'm just, just get a
Yeah.
vape. And that was a month ago, and I have two different vapes right now.
See, yeah.
One on like 5% that's about to die because I'm like, okay, I got one to throw away, but I got a fresh one right here, and
Exactly.
then I lost this one, so I have a third one somewhere in my house.
Mm-mm.
So
See, no.
I could, yeah, addiction. It could
You're
be,
gonna have to wean yourself
yeah,
off.
it's not just like an addiction towards people.
Yeah.
It's our devices,
No,
it's
it
our
can be
vices
anything.
too
It's
that can
any,
control
yes.
anything.
I mean, your cell phone can be something that's a bad addiction and
Yes,
undue influence. It can take yourself away from uh, work you should be doing or other forms of entertainment. Whether it's, oh, well, you should pick up an actual book or spend time with actual people, go outside, touch grass, you
I
know?
just as you were talking, I realized I have a fourth vape, but this one's for sleep purposes only.
Ah, okay, okay.
It's
Melatonin.
very full. It's a CBD vape that I
Oh,
bought a
okay, okay.
while back. Well, not a while back, but I bought not too long ago. But I don't ever use it because like one or two hits of this, and within 15 minutes, I'll be like,
Yeah, you're
I'll
out.
be ready for a nap. I'll be ready to go to bed. I have I don't I want to say undiagnosed sleep issues because I've never been diagnosed with it, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
have what's known as it's reverse insomnia. So I can't sleep, or I can sleep. I can sleep all day every day for hours and hours and hours. If
Hmm.
no one bothered me, I would probably still be asleep right now. And
Right, right.
I'm perpetually tired. I just cannot ever shake it. And
Right, it doesn't catch
yeah,
up.
so with this, it actually helps me catch up on that. So I'll take it. I'll take one or two hits, and then I will be tired, and I will fall asleep, and I will actually wake up refreshed, which is
Refreshed.
very rare for me. So
Right.
it's one of those things that like this is one of the only
Yeah,
good vices that I have, that when I can't
exactly.
sleep,
Like for medicinal
yeah.
purposes,
But
it's helping.
this isn't for that. This one's not for that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so
Yeah.
there are good intentions on even your
Oh, yeah.
vices. Like you said, like if you were to see what's around me right now, I have two phones, I have my soundboard, I have my microphones, I have this microphone, I have a camera. Like I am addicted to
Yeah.
technology. I am what's known as like a technophile. I love
Oh, yeah.
technology. My watch is a smart watch. I just have tech around me. In my backpack, I usually carry like, if I were to add it all up, I'd probably have like $3,000 of technology on me at all times. So it is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
addiction, but I'm not perpetually on my phone or using it all the time.
Right.
I do stuff like this, and I'll make some small short form videos for Instagram and TikTok. So I'll just pull it out real quick, do that, put it away, and I'm done.
Exactly.
But
And that's good.
it
Everything in balance, everything in
imbalances.
moderation.
So I've seen some of your cosplays, and I've seen some. You draw, right?
No,
No,
I
because
am notoriously a terrible artist.
I saw some drawings on
I
your thing, and I was like, man, she's a great
No,
artist.
it's no, no, no. It's It's comic book artists or local
Okay.
artists or things that that I support
I
and
was
go to the cons
I was
for,
gonna be like,
or yeah,
man, she's a cosplayer, she's an artist. I'm like, man, there's a
absolutely not.
lot.
I've always wished I paint, but to actually draw or ink something, I was not blessed with that
Yeah, I
talent.
can't.
So, and I think that's why I respect it so much. And of course, I love comic books. I love that medium,
Yes.
but I respect artists so much and the time and the effort. And it's not,
Yes.
like I said, it's not something I can do.
If I discover that one of my friends is an artist, I'll be like, here's $50. Go buy some paint, make
Literally,
me something.
yes.
And I actually, in my own home, I have metalwork pieces that people have made for me.
Hmm.
I have art on my walls that I've commissioned from friends. I'm like, if you
Yes,
can draw, if you can do something that I can't, I will gladly pay you so I can
exactly.
see it myself. Because I'm
Hmm.
gonna support you on it, and I'm gonna showcase it as much as I can.
Exactly.
So I'm fascinated by that, which is also why I'm also fascinated a lot by cosplayers too, because that takes a lot of creativity. Whether
Yes, it can be an art form in its own. Any form of artistic self-expression or something that you take time and piece
yes,
together and create yourself. And yeah, art comes in many forms.
yes, and there's big differences between like um different cosplayers, and I've seen it everywhere. So you, for example, you stick true to the form, which is
Usually,
the
yes.
way
I'm a little bit more of a purist.
the way the character looks, that's what you try to do. And then you have people like Yaya who make that twist into making it
So
for
so
themselves.
individualistic, yes, and just making it their own and unique, something you're not going to see anywhere else because
Yes.
it's them.
And then there's
Gaia is amazing at
yes,
that.
she is. Hers is always amazing stuff that I've seen. And then there's like the third ones who do a lot of the visual effect type of cosplays.
Hmm.
There's one that I follow on Instagram, on TikTok, and she does makeup, and every single video
Yes.
I've ever seen of her looks completely different. Like there's not one,
Oh yeah.
like her normal look is kind of like her normal self is kind of more repressed and has like she looks more like a child, more childlike features,
Right.
and then she'll do her transitions, and and it looks like a completely
Completely different.
different
Wow.
person. It'll be like,
Shapeshifters,
yeah, it'll be like an
honestly.
alien, or it'll be like
Literally.
Betty Boop was her
Yeah.
most recent one. I'm like,
That's
that
amazing.
looks nothing like what you looked like 5 seconds ago in this video.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I could never do that.
They're
Yeah,
magicians. Yes.
I could never do that. I have very predominant features. Like it would take a lot to hide this into
Right.
something
But
else.
there are guys they do the latex and they do
Yes,
the
I
all of that. It's an art form. It really
I
is.
used to do that a long time ago. I used to do
Hmm.
horror stuff
Oh,
for
that's cool.
Halloween, but I took it to the extreme. Like I didn't have this long hair. I
Right,
would
right.
shave my head bald so I can have latex applied to the top of my head.
Oh my goodness.
So, because I've seen some where they like put like a bald
Yeah.
cap on and then
Yeah, you
they're
can do the
doing
bald
extra
cap.
layers. I'm like, no, just shave my head completely
Just go,
and just apply
exactly.
it directly to me. I'm not going through
To the
those extra
scalp.
steps. Yeah. So
That's it. Yeah.
I used to do that, and I did one Halloween where I did a car crash victim. So I had fake glass sticking out of the side of my
Oh
head.
my
I
gosh.
had a huge cut right here, and it was during Halloween. I went to Whataburger, and the cashier screamed and said,
Oh
"Do you need
no.
help?" I'm like, "Yes, give me a number two, please."
Exactly. That's all.
I was
That's
like,
the most
I was
help
like,
you're gonna be able to give
this
me.
isn't real. It's Halloween. I'm I
Oh, poor thing.
I think I scared
But that's
two
good.
different
That's good.
cashiers. I scared two different people there at that night. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm hungry. Give me some food. I'm not.
Well, it was, hey, at least it was a success. It was
Yeah, it
believable.
was very believable. It was fun, but I was like, after I stopped doing that, I'm like, man, I can't do that anymore because I have like the long hair, and
Right.
the hair. I wanted to donate it during the holidays, but the person I called during the time they weren't there, so I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So it's been since Christmas. I'm like, I want to get rid of it, but it's just I get
God.
tired. But
Yeah, and it's summer.
yeah.
It's harder to maintain.
Oh man, I was outside taking my dogs out before I logged in, and I was standing there and I looked at my dog. I was like, "Look, we got to go inside," because I had my hair down, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "I'm
I'm
roasting
hot. I'm
here. We
dying.
need to go inside. Y'all need to hurry up
They're
and let's
like,
go inside." And they're just running around. I'm like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
going
they don't care.
now. I'm
Like, this
about to
is your
pass out. We need to
problem.
go inside, guys. So, but yeah, I respect all forms of media like that when
Yes.
it comes from painting to cosplayers to all that storytellers. I'm like, there's something amazing about that. Me, I'm a storyteller.
Right.
I could do this every day, all day.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I passed with high marks during my public speaking classes. And half the time I was never prepared because I never paid attention. I'm not going to lie. I didn't pay attention in
Right.
my classes. And then I'd be like, oh, it's time for you to go do your presentation. I'd be like, what was it supposed to be over? And they'd give me like a quick recap, like, oh,
Exactly.
got it.
Got
I
it.
have it right here written down, blank piece of paper. I go up there and I had them eating out of the palm of my hand. And they're like, man, you did, that was very heartfelt.
Gift of gab,
Yeah,
my grandmother used to call it.
they'd be like, man, that was very heartfelt. That was a lot. I'm like, yeah, all of it was fake. I made it all
It was
up.
all bullshit. Yeah.
I think one of my subjects was over like family. So I was like, I got a great story. So I started with like my grandpa when he was a child in Mexico. And then I kept going and I built on top of that, like, oh, then he owned a bar and then something happened. And then the people were crying. I'm like, I stepped down. I looked at my buddy. I was like, none of that happened ever. I was like,
Right.
the beginning
This
part.
was all fake.
Yeah, I was like, the beginning part, my grandpa, a kid in Mexico, that's the only real truth there was. He was from Mexico.
Yeah,
He was a kid.
exactly.
That was it. Everything else was made up. So
It's hilarious.
when it comes to storytelling,
But if you, yeah,
I
but
can do that.
if you got it, yeah, if you got the gift, people believe it, and it's all about the entertainment factor.
Yes. But like I said earlier, though, you also have to, on depending on the story, you have to take the lesson that comes with it.
Exactly.
And I think on that day, the lesson was like, it ended with like something that actually did happen with my family in Mexico. And it was a tragedy. And I was like, look, this is why you have to listen to certain things. Because one of the things that happened to my family in Mexico was the soldiers came through during some battle. And my whole family, like generations in Mexico, were all bartenders. They all owned bars. So one of them was like, hey, we don't sell liquor past a certain time. Soldiers
Right.
came in and they unfortunately killed him because he wouldn't sell them liquor because he was like, it's the law. I can't break the law. Even though you're a
Right. You're
soldier,
not
I'm not going to
supposed
do
to.
that.
Exactly.
So they killed him. And I was like, this is, he was standing on his morals,
Yeah.
but something tragedy happened. So like, there's always a story and something to take apart for a good storyteller
Right.
to actually be able to do it right. And that's always been what I've been able to do is I will include some kind of story behind what I'm saying, some kind of like takeaway from it that people need.
Right.
And I've seen that that's kind of becoming its own lost art also because then you have different
Mm-hmm.
influencers who just are in it for themselves. There's no
Right.
no
heart.
there's no
Yeah.
heart behind it. Which best example are all those alpha males that are coming out. I'm like, there's nothing behind that. You're not going to get anything out of that. You're just giving them your money.
You're not going to get anything out of it.
You're just
exactly.
giving them your money. Ask them how they got their muscles, how they worked out, the dedication they had to do behind it before they became a bullshitter. That's the story you need to take away from. So some of my friends have fallen victim to that, and I'm like, dude, you're just wasting your time with these people. They're not teaching you anything that you don't already know, or
right. It's things that aren't already like you have it inside you. It's going to take the discipline. Like you're saying, the dedication.
yes,
There's no easy way.
yeah, there isn't an
And
easy way.
when you stop trying to find that shortcut and just put in the work, that's how you're going to do it. Like you said, you already have that in you.
Yes, and one of my buddies, he's fallen for it multiple times because he's just susceptible to that, and he beats himself up about it. I'm like, dude, you're not. I'm like, dude, the only thing that you have that kind of holds you back is yourself, and you're kind of a big guy, but like, dude, there's people that kind of like that shit, dude. So just you gotta find your own way. You can't just
find find your people.
Yeah, you can't mold yourself to what these alpha idiots look like. You're not. That's not your genetics. You're not gonna be able to do that.
Right.
I'm like me. I'm not gonna be able to look like that either. I'm just gonna get wider and heavier, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be like sculpted because that's not my genetics.
Exactly.
Like I've learned this, and I'm like, dude, you need to learn that lesson because once you accept it, everything you've wanted is gonna fall into place.
Yeah, it just like dominoes.
Yes, And for
self-acceptance and loving yourself and working with what you have and what you're gifted with is the first step. It's the first step every single time.
yeah, for a long time I was like him, and I was like always doubting myself and stuff like that. And once I started accepting more of who I was, then I started getting into more different, more serious relationships and actually finding what I was looking for. Up until now, I've
Exactly.
been I've been married for 12 years now. Before that, my longest relationship was 3 years. I'm like,
See?
once you start accepting
Yeah,
yourself, it changes everything.
it really does.
So
You can't give what you don't have. And if you don't have love for yourself, you can't give it to others and you can't accept it from others.
yes, that is very true. And and I'm also, like I said, like you said, the gift of gab. I could talk my way out of anything. I've talked myself into
Right.
a lot of bad relationships, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, once I started like kind of pulling away from that part,
Yeah, when you don't make those excuses for people anymore, you just let it be.
things happen.
You start to find a more genuine thing because you can talk yourself into something just as easily as you can talk yourself out of
Yes,
something. And if you continue to be like, well, yeah," well, you're gonna get stuck.
yes, that's very true, and that's what I keep trying to tell them. Like, once you start accepting it and doing it your way, then you're gonna find what you want.
See, yeah, it's gonna fall right in. It's not even you're gonna find it, it's gonna find you.
Yes, that's very true. Do you have any cosplays or anything coming up anytime soon?
Yes, actually, that's what made me think of this. Because I wanted to do a deer lady for a long time. I live on the north side of Houston, so we have Texas Renaissance Festival, and I've always thought that that would be such a cool because sometimes people do like the normal Ren Fair outfits and stuff, but a lot of times people are starting to do like mythology, like gods and goddesses. You see fae out there, like fairies or fauns or different things, and I was like, one of my really good friends did a I can't remember exactly her name. I know it's the Mexican goddess of death, and she did like the feathers, and she did marigolds on her wrist and a whole crown of the marigolds, and it was so beautiful. And she walked around as the Mexican goddess of death, and it was stunning. And so she's working on a couple of other indigenous gods that she's going to bring to Ren Fair. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it kind of just unlocked a whole other form of ideas for us to wear to these events. So I was like, Dear Lady would be so cool because it would kind of match the aesthetic of Ren Fair, and you can kind of play with that idea a little bit. So that one is coming hopefully this fall. And um, there was another one. I also thought a Scarlet Witch, but in Ren Fair garb would have been really, really cool. So hopefully we get that one done too.
That's gonna be really cool. The one you were talking about, I'm not gonna try to pronounce the name of it. But yeah, I've seen some
I,
similar
it's
things of it.
so cool.
I've seen some
She looked
similar
beautiful.
ones, and they look amazing. There's one that I'm
But yeah,
looking
she had
at.
the headdress with black feathers. She had like the marigold crown, and it was just stunning. People were stopping her all day for pictures in her cosplay, and it's one of my favorites of hers. She's done America Chavez. She's done Cora, just beautiful cosplays, and um, but that one stands out as one of my favorites of hers.
Yeah, I love seeing that at Ren fairs, because I don't really go to a lot of the cons or Ren fairs, but I know people that do, so sometimes I'll tag along. Um, and I have noticed that there has been a surge of people owning it and not just going as a
Yeah.
knight, a squire,
Exactly.
a
Yeah. Like those
princess, a
unique
dame. Now
ones.
they're
Oh my
going
gosh.
as
Exactly.
mythology. They're bringing an actual thing into this that's a lot different now.
Exactly.
Like, you're kind of talking about something similar to this, right?
Yes. Yes. It was, yeah, it's like, oh gosh, I wish I could remember her name. Um, but it was stunning. It was so beautiful. And
You know what the cool part of all this is that a lot of this it just dawned on me that has been coming up in a lot of our media nowadays.
Well, yeah, you see that influence a lot. Like these are the sugar skulls and the Day of the Dead being celebrated and stuff like that. You know, we it's really cool to see that honoring that side of our culture and getting credit for it. It's not just part of, oh, it's just Halloween decor or it's just, something pretty to wear to a costume party, but actually knowing the history behind it is really cool.
Yeah, one of my friends that I go that I've that does the whole Ren Fair thing. He's a knight, and that's not just because he wanted to be a knight. No, like he's looked into his whole history, and like his family
Oh yeah.
was actually knights, and he's a true blacksmith. So he makes his own armor, he makes his own
Oh
stuff.
wow.
He
That's
actually
cool.
he's older now, but so now he trains future knights, and he owns a little property
That's
out
really
in
cool.
Texas. So he has horses, and he actually takes people up there and trains them on how to ride a horse, how to wear the armor, how to joust, all that stuff.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, dude, you're amazing at this kind of stuff. And I don't
Wow.
think he's gone for the past year or two because he's had some health issues. So I don't think he's gone because
Mhm.
of that. But I'm like, the last couple of times I've actually gone with him, just tagging along, because the last time he went, he didn't go and open up his own shop like he used to. He just went to support one of the other
Mhm.
people that he trained as a knight, and that's when I started noticing. I'm like, there's a lot more, fairies and
Yeah, mythical
more mythical things here, and I'm like, it's
influences.
starting to people are starting to own their own history, their own stories, their own what
Mhm.
they believe in. They're not just coming up here to dress up like a princess or
Right. Right.
a damsel or a knight or a squire. They're actually coming up here to tell a story about something. That's which is really cool.
Mhm.
Oh, man, we've covered a lot. We've gone all over the
Yes.
place,
This has been great.
and this is what usually happens. I don't think I've ever had a single conversation with somebody that's been linear. Yeah, I think even with Latinos Against Spooky Shit, we started off on the Chupacabra, then we went somewhere different. It just happens that way, and I love having guests
Yeah.
on because it's never just telling a singular story. It's telling about life experiences and everything that's going on, and that's my biggest takeaway from all these that
Yeah.
interviews that I've done is that I love hearing everyone's story, and I will actually tell you that my next guest is actually a celebrity after you.
Oh, exciting.
I haven't told anyone exactly who it is. I've kept that kind of hush hush until I can get my office set back up. But since my office is going to be set up really soon, it's going to be in August. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. It's he was on the Latin Kings of Comedy back in the day with George Lopez, Cheech Marine. I'm trying to pull him up right now on Instagram. I don't know why I'm struggling. I have Instagram on my computer. I revert so much to my phone. I'm like, I have it right.
Yeah, it's just easier to just grab it.
I have it on my computer right next to me. It is. Where's he at? I sent so many messages.
Oh yeah, I hate having to dig through my inbox. Like, thank God for the search feature
Yes,
because I would never find anything.
it is Alex Raimundo,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and that
He's hilarious.
that
Yeah.
that was the
That's
funniest. That
awesome.
was the funniest interaction ever. So the way I invite people is I'll be scrolling through Instagram, and if I find something interesting, I'm like, oh, let me invite them, and
Mhm.
I'll send messages out. So I got tons of messages that I go through, and I have it turned off on my notifications on both my phones because I go to work. I don't want it going off while I'm at
Yeah,
work. Or when I'm home and I'm not doing something like this, I don't want to be focused on it, taken away from what else I could be doing.
right.
So I have my notifications turned off. So I have to force myself to check my phone. So I sent him a message and I just happened to check my phone that day. And I was like, oh, he messaged back. I was like, cool. So he sends me his number. He's like, hey, text me, call me, and we'll set something up. So I take his number and I send him a text message and I tell my family, I'm like, oh man, I got I like a celebrity that actually wants to do this. Hopefully he calls back, because
Yeah, yeah.
it's a celebrity. I don't expect them to be like, oh, let me go on this random
Right.
ass
To get right.
podcast.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe he's just being nice, and he'll send me like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't do it, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I send him a message, and then I'm like, and I'm on medication, so the medication has helped me lose weight because My
Mhm.
doctor believes that all my problems are because of weight, and I'm going to prove him wrong by losing weight and still having all my problems. So part of the side
You're
effects
like
is part of the
a lot.
one of the side effects was that I had to go to the bathroom, and it kind of like forces
Mhm.
me to go. So I was like, fuck, I got to go to the restroom. So I go, and right as I go to the restroom,
Of course,
he calls
there's the phone
me.
call.
I'm like,
Hmm. Happens every
I'm
time.
like, I
Yep.
can't. I was like, this is embarrassing. I have to answer the phone while in the restroom.
Yeah, you have to. You can't not. You can't be like, oh, yeah,
So uh,
exactly.
that's how I organized an entire thing was in the restroom. I was like, oh, this is embarrassing.
Hey, you got it done.
But
That's all that matters.
yeah, so you're one of the first people that I've actually told that
That's
he's gonna be on here.
exciting. I'm excited. I'll have to definitely mark my calendar for that.
And one of his requests was because he owns his own tequila company.
Hmm.
So he's like, you have to drink with me on the
Yep.
podcast while live stream. I'm like, bet.
No,
I haven't
yeah,
had
that's
tequila in a
such a.
while, so this is gonna be awesome.
That's
So
awesome. That's exciting.
I'm excited, and like that's one of the main reasons why I kind of pressured my friend, like, hey, you got to move your stuff out of my office. I need that office
Yeah, we
back.
gotta get this set up. We got business.
Yeah. So
Exactly. That's exciting. Congratulations.
thank you. Like I said, I send messages out all the time, and I don't expect half the people I message to ever message back. So whenever you message back, whenever Latinos Against Spooky Shit, Shining Nathan, the Alpha Primos
Yeah, you gotta
podcast,
show up. We gotta show up for our people. And like I said, I love this.
whenever anyone replies, I get so excited. I'm like a child. I'm like, oh, they messaged back. I'm getting a person.
Yeah,
So
no, I
I have
totally get
tons
it.
of fun doing
I
this.
thank you so much for inviting me. Even just to, like, I see these i- invitations as, oh, that's another podcast I can follow. This is another thing I can listen to. It adds to my library of people that I can support, and I can you know, pop in a podcast when I'm working, or, I go through hundreds of books every week with at the shop, and I just put on a podcast, or I put on an audiobook or something like that, and it just helps the time go by. So you guys help me
I
do what I do.
I don't think I could work in a comic book shop. I would be
You know,
reading 24/7.
yeah, it definitely takes discipline to be like, this is work time, not read time.
Yeah, I would just be there like
Exactly.
I would be telling customers like, shh, let me finish real
Wait,
quick.
wait, 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 wait. Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
in a moment. Leave me alone.
Like, let me just finish this, and I will come and help you. Go wait over there. Thanks.
I couldn't do it. Like I love comics. I just can't.
Yes.
I um speaking of comic book shops, I actually met the Green Ranger when he was on tour
Hmm.
during the comic book tour a couple years ago, and that was one of the most amazing experiences ever. Was meeting him on that. My family says that that's the day she almost died because I was one of the first people to show up. I was one of the first people online, and if you look on his Instagram page when he did that tour a couple years ago, you'll see me like almost right behind him. And
Yeah,
when I saw him pull up, the child in me came out, and I reached over and I grabbed my family, and I was like, "It's the Green Ranger!"
that's hilarious. Yeah, the kid comes out in us.
So
That's so funny.
yeah, so she'll always remember that as the day she almost died because I grabbed her and I just shook her like, "It's the Green Ranger. He's right there. He showed up on a motorcycle."
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
I was geeking out. I was like, "Oh
that's
my
so
god,
cool.
that's amazing." I'm a big Power Ranger fan. I've always been like that since I was
Mm,
a kid. I've kind of
yeah, me too.
I've kind of
Love Power
I've kind
Rangers.
of pushed that onto my kids, so they're Power Ranger fans
Yep.
too. So every now and then I'll hear from my son's room.
Yeah, as soon as it came out on Netflix, I was like, oh,
Yes,
watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
yeah, he has it on repeat, and we actually have
Hmm.
the full Mighty Morphin Power Rangers box set.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's hard to find too.
the DVD box set autographed by the Green Ranger.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
we have that. My daughter has a couple posters that he autographed. His I don't know if it was his agent or whoever was there with him was like, oh, it have to pay for one or two
Hmm.
things, but he was like, but he saw my son's a special needs, and he saw my son. He's like, here, take this, and he gave us like three or four extra
Oh,
things, and he autographed everything. I was like, that is
that's
amazing.
amazing. That's so kind.
I was like, that's why he's the Green Ranger. He'll always be the Green Ranger. So I hear my dogs barking, which means my family has returned from their outing.
They're back from their sojourn.
Yep. Is there anything you'd like to add before we sign off?
No, again, just thank you so much. It's an honor to have this conversation with you, and thank you for introducing me to your podcast and for supporting us creators too. I
Yes.
really appreciate it.
I I follow you now, and you always pop up on my page. So I like a lot of your stuff, and I like a lot of Yaya stuff. I
Awesome.
like
Thank you.
cosplayers are
Yes, she's
just, it's an amazing thing. I can't get enough of it. I'll look. I'm like, I wish I could do something similar to that, but I'm a storyteller, so
exactly. It all contributes. It all plays in.
um I will tag you in a couple posts. I'll edit some of these down
Awesome.
and I'll
Yeah.
send them to you, and I'll also create some title cards too, so you can, if you want to share them.
Sure.
I
Yeah, definitely.
I never tell anyone that fought that comes onto the podcast to share anything, because it's up to you. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
But yeah, for
for
sure.
some reason I feel like if I were to do that, I'm exploiting the fact that someone agreed. I'm like, I don't want to. So like, if you ever want to, that's fine.
Right.
I
It's
don't
always
mind.
nice. Yeah. It's good to have the option, but for sure, yeah. If it also supports them because it's
Yes.
cross promotion. So that's
I
good.
always I always talk about anyone that's ever been on. I constantly talk about them all the time, because I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why Shining Nathan and Latinos Against Spooky Shit still respond to me to this day.
Oh,
I'll,
that's so nice.
I have them both on Discord and Instagram, and every now and then, whenever I run into problems on Instagram, I'll send one of them a message, and they reply. Or if I have a
And they seem
question,
like such genuine people. Yeah,
they are
that's
very
awesome.
nice people. And I'll send something like to Shining Nathan, like, hey, I saw so and so, this was happening. Would do you have an opinion on it? And we'll
Hmm.
have a conversation about it. I'm like, and I'll sit back and I'm like, why is he responding to me? Like,
Right.
he's a celebrity on
Well, yeah,
Instagram.
but they see something in you too, and it's a like they got something out of your interaction too. Everybody leaves a
Yes.
stamp on people, and you can tell when people are genuine and they have something to say. They're interesting people.
Yes. I would like to extend the same invitation I extend to anyone that appears. At the end of the year, depending on how many people I can get onto the podcast, I do a roundtable discussion over one of the bigger um, stories. So last time I did one was
Awesome.
a few people, and it was over the kukui and everyone's
Oh
interaction,
yeah, that's great.
everyone from different cultures of what it represents to them. So would you like to be a part of that towards the end of the year?
Absolutely.
Once I get
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'll organize it and I'll send messages out once I get closer to when I'm going to do it and
Yeah.
what the subject's going to be over.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds great.
And I think that's it for today. As you can hear people
Awesome.
walking behind me.
Yeah, yeah.
So the whole family's
Yeah,
home now.
my oh yeah. Well, you go enjoy your day with your family and thank you again for having me.
You too, enjoy your day with your family.
Yes,
And once I start making all the promotional material, I will send it to you copies. And yeah,
that sounds great.
it's up to you if you want to share it. I don't mind. I do all the hard work on
Awesome.
my end. So yeah, that's about it. I guess that's it.
All right.
I'll add your socials to this episode, and when it comes out, I'll let you know when the episode comes out too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Yes.
And that was Nicole. So we're gonna have a great. I'm gonna work on this episode, and I'll let y'all know when it comes out. But that's about it, guys. Stay spooky, everybody, and I will see you next time.